Brena Nath, Vice President of Community Events at HousingWire. I'm excited to be at ACUMA in Denver. The theme of the conference is Make Your Mark, and couldn't be a better theme for who I'm here with. I'm joined by Alyssa Tullock. She's Executive Vice President and COO at AmeriCU Credit Union. Getting that one right. And just here to talk about what's happening at the conference, what she's seeing in the space. So just to start off, thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited.
Some of the foundational elements I think is key to this conversation is talking a little bit about yourself, your journey into the space, how you got involved with ACUMA. Can you give a little bit of your backstory?
Yeah, so I have been in credit unions now for 20 years. I don't know how it's possible, but 20 years ago I worked at a bank and I got recruited to come over to a credit union. I didn't know what credit unions were, to be honest with you. I had heard of them and that I thought you needed to work someplace. And ultimately what I had learned from a family friend, that they were looking for someone to start up a secondary market at a credit union. Oh. And, I thought that was very exciting. And I was kind of in a pivotal moment in my career where working at the bank, I just wasn't sure if I was aligned from my core values anymore with them, because it was always about making money and not necessarily about the person. And so I went on my interview at the credit union, and one thing that stuck out right away was the cooperative nature that immediately met me at the door. And their philosophies were very, very different. It was all about member and experience and making sure that the person that you were lending to was ultimately at the center of the decision versus how much money you could kind of make off from someone. Yeah. So I found my way to the credit union 20 years ago to start up a mortgage department, and it was so fun. And I've now built on that for my entire career ultimately. And I started really as, I think my title was like secondary market specialist. And ultimately, here I am now as an executive vice president running, a $3 billion organization. Yeah. So it's been a long road, fun. But I've had multiple connections through ACUMA. The first time I met someone that came in and it was a vendor, and they said, "Oh, do you know about ACUMA?" It was 20 years ago. Yeah. And I was like, "No, I have no idea what this is." They said, "Well, they're having an annual conference in 2 months. You have to go." Yeah. And so there I was. I went, and I was blown away when I walked into that first conference and how welcoming every single person was. You didn't get that when you worked at a bank. When you went to a conference, it was more about competitive nature. And here, everyone was like openly sharing on what you needed to do to be successful in this industry. And I was roped in from that moment, and I haven't missed one since.
I'll always take the opportunity to know when someone has fun and mortgages together, because it is true. You can see the energy that you have for the space, and there's so much potential for growing this space. And you're seeing that growth in ACUMA right now. They're having this event itself has record, I'm pretty sure, setting attendance.
Yeah, there's almost 700 people here.
That's huge.
And I think when I first came 20 years ago, there was maybe 100, right? Yeah. So, just over time, it's been a wonderful to be part of it and to see the growth and see how important they are in this space that we work.
What would you attribute some of that growth to? There's been a lot of growth at ACUMA. What would you want people to know about how that is happening? You kind of dove into it kind of naturally in your last answer.
Yeah, it's honestly, this cooperativeness. Everyone is here for the same reason, and it's people helping people. Ultimately, the philosophy of credit unions. And so when you come into this environment, whether you are a credit union employee or a vendor that supports credit unions, everyone wants everyone to succeed. And you feel that the moment you walk into any event that they host. And it's all about educating and helping people, prosper, whether it's you as your, own career goals, or if it's your members you're trying to help or your community you're trying to help. It's just, it's such an amazing organization to be a part of.
Yeah. Where does mortgage come into play for that? Because not only are we talking about credit unions, but we're at a mortgage specific kind of arm channel within the credit union space. You guys offer a lot more. You're in the mortgage side of it. So why is mortgage still such an essential part of everything that a credit union offers?
We see it as a building wealth, ultimately, right? From a credit union perspective overall, we know that if we focus on helping people obtain home ownership, gets that person in a better financial condition and space, and it also helps your credit union grow. Because
Yeah.
ultimately, if somebody is getting a mortgage with you, they're more likely to get other products and services with you and look at you as more of a primary FI. I know that's kind of an outdated term, but I can tell you, if when somebody, they trust you, when they come to you for your mortgage, you see every financial aspect of their life, and you're able, as long as you're able to really help them understand what other products and services will benefit them when you see their full financial scope, it's critical to your credit union to make sure that you're helping that member in every aspect of their life. Homeownership is where it starts, in my opinion. You really can help them. It's still an American dream, and I think that I love being part of that at the credit union, and we do look at that as a foundational place that either if someone comes into our credit union for a mortgage, we want to make sure we help them in every other aspect of their life, or if they're there, we want to make sure we get them to become a homeowner.
What would you want the realtor to know about this dynamic? We're kind of diving in with this conversation into the credit unions, the members. A big part of the housing industry is that realtor relationship. What would you want them to know?
I think it's that we have everything that every other financial institution has, right? So they're used to dealing with a mortgage broker or maybe a bank. And I think sometimes they think credit unions aren't as sophisticated and have the products and services. And that is the most insanely wrong thing to ever imagine. There are full service mortgage departments at almost every credit union. And if they don't have it, they have a partner that they refer to. And I would tell you that they will always have your client at their best interest. And it will be from a perspective of making sure that they are in the best financial condition to get the home, but also to maintain and keep the home. And I think it's a different approach that some realtors aren't necessarily aware of. But I think the most misnomer is that credit unions aren't prepared to have the right conversations or the right loan products, and it's just not accurate.
Yeah. That's a great narrative to fix and set the record kind of straight on. We're in September. Right now we're at the ACUMA conference. This will probably be posted a little bit later, but we are, no matter what, still looking ahead at 2026 and beyond. What are some of the takeaways, themes that you're noticing in this room, or what just has you excited about the future, with whether that's credit unions, ACUMA, what's going on in housing? What are you looking forward to ahead?
I think my biggest takeaway so far at this event is, we're kind of at a divide in the country politically, right? And everyone is very concerned about what does that mean for housing, just in general. And I think what has just screamed at me is don't get caught in the noise. Maintain our approach as credit unions to help the member and help the member grow wealth and become homeowners. With that also is look at ways that we can partner with other institutions or other housing agencies to help with maybe down payment assistance. If we do see funding cut, who knows what's going to happen? To me, it's like if we have a duty where we are all about helping people to figure out how can we come together and maybe solve for some of these issues that are being more challenged from maybe in a political environment that people don't have any control over. I think one speaker had said to us, you come in where the funding is going to dry up. If you really want to help put people into homes, maybe you create an independent program amongst multiple credit unions, come together and create down payment assistance programs that you fund. I think those are the things that to me make me really excited, because we can do that. We have the opportunity to give back in those ways and not have to continuously rely on outside sources. And I think it's important for us to collectively, cooperatively do that.
Yeah, that kind of goes back to what I've been hearing through this interview is when you come to ACUMA, what I'm noticing with the people here is there's this openness to how can we work together, even in your answers, we can come together and help the member who is, trying to get a home, trying to take that next step in their life. So I appreciate the exciting forward look. Appreciate you sitting down with me, and I hope everyone stays tuned.
Thank you so much.